So let's talk for a second about the key points that we need to make when we are testifying to these committee members about the right to rest. A little bit of what we need to talk about here is what the right to rest says and what it doesn't say, because there's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of misinformation that's put out there, mostly to try to make this bill sound scary and horrible for those who are opposing our basic human rights in public space. So what this bill does, as Jesse's already named, is it protects our right to survive in public space. So things that every human has to do, like sleeping, sitting, laying down, covering yourself, eating. These are things that every person has to do, and when you're homeless, you don't have a private home, you have to do those things in public space. This bill says that those acts are protected. Those you can do. You can't have laws that make those illegal. You can't have rules that make those illegal. You can do those things in public space. Not in private space. You can't go, go trespass on a business property or some person's private home. Just public space. That's all this bill is about. Just outdoor public spaces where you can survive. What this bill does not say is that you can trespass on a business property. It doesn't say that you can obstruct a passageway. Just says that you can sleep, you can lay down and cover yourself, you can't obstruct a passageway. That's not okay. It does not say that you can break any law that you want to. This is not a bill that nixes all laws in public space. It is a bill that nixes laws in public space that have to do with survival, with the acts that are named: sleeping, sitting, covering yourself. So it doesn't say that you can break health code laws. It doesn't say that you can harass people. It doesn't say that you can do drugs. It doesn't say that you can do any of those things. It simply says you have the right to survive in public space in these named ways. So when you're thinking about what you want to testify in this bill, keep that in mind. This bill is, again, it's about our acts, our survival acts in public space. Also, this bill is not about shelters. This bill does not say that shelter providers have to provide shelter. It doesn't say that service providers have to do anything. It's simply about our survival in public space. So we know that there are plenty of issues with our shelters and services in this state and around the nation that need to be addressed. That is plain as day, especially for anybody who has experience living in shelters. But that's not what this bill is about. This bill is about the fact that we have to survive in public spaces. And when we're doing that, we need to have our basic dignity and rights. And furthermore, there's a few things that need to be kept in mind about the way that the city and the businesses and the folks that are trying to shoot this down, folks that are opposing our rights in public space. Many people often ask, well, this seems plain as day. This seems obvious. Why do people oppose this? Why is there an opposition to our right to sleep, to our right to lay down? Well, the things that they like to say are that they need these laws in order to push people into services. So we need a camping ban because that's a tool in our toolbox. This is the police speaking, or the cities, that's a tool in our toolbox to move people out of sight and into services, where that is where they need to be. That's what's helpful. That's where they're going to get their lives together. There's a few major logical fallacies and flaws with this. Number one, those services very often do not exist. There are actually not even enough shelter beds for all the people who are homeless in Colorado, even close. Furthermore, those services often do not actually meet the needs of folks who are on the streets. Furthermore, those services often are undignified and really inadequate. And the hours that you have to be in there, folks who work, folks who are couples, folks who have pets, so on and so forth. They are not options for so many people. So as we're thinking about this, we cannot continue to let this narrative prevail saying that there's services and that we need these laws to push people in these services. It's simply not true. It's harmful, and it's a violation of our basic rights. Everybody has a right to survive. You cannot be forced to go into a shelter. The key points that we need to make is speaking the truth. We have to tell the truth about what's going on the streets, because most of the time, the folks sitting in that legislature, the folks sitting in those chairs, have no clue what's actually going on the streets, or if they do, they are putting their blinders on and ignoring it. They need to hear straight up what is going on. What happened last night when cops came and told you you needed to move? What happened last month when you were moved 10 times? What happened when you lost your blankets? What happened when you were unable to sleep in your vehicle? When you couldn't go to the feed to get the food that you needed because you'd been moved all the way out to Commerce City? They need to hear these real stories, these real situations of what the effect is of the laws that are on the books right now and the practices that are in this state of criminalizing our survival in public. So that is the key point we need to make, is what is reality on the streets, and so we can bring the streets into that legislative committee room and make that truth heard.
Let's go!